Good morning, chat. Another bright and sunny Monday morning here in the middle of London. Becoming a familiar starting point for me. I'm at Trafalgar Square, as you can see, and I can see we've already got Daisy in the chat. Good morning, Daisy. Welcome. Despite what people think, London happens to be one of the driest cities in England. I've yet to have a wet day here. This is my sixth day here in London on my walks, on my streams. As you can see, it's another lovely sunny morning. It's a bit chilly though, it's about 8 degrees. So, hence why I've got my hoodie on this morning. Good morning, Sam, welcome on in. Nice to see you here as well. Right, so I'm going to take you on a walk today, which is going to go through some of the posher parts of London. Part of the Royal Parks, and we'll end up at Royal Albert Hall. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it should take a while. It feels a bit Septemberish out here. It does. It does. It's that crisp kind of morning, but it's nice. It's nice. Right, so I'm going to turn the camera around so you no longer see my ugly mug, and instead you can see Trafalgar Square. I'm trying a new setup today. I'm going to try it so I've got my phone on a clip, so I don't have to carry the phone in my other hand, so then it frees up my hand. Sorry. Hopefully it works. Not doing what I want it to do. Bear with me. Bear with me, chat, bear with me. Got it in there, right. Let's try now, right. Alright, here we go. I can now see, chat. I've now got it on a separate. I got my right hand free, I've got a free hand. Oh, that's good, here we go. Right. Going to take you on a walk down Pall or Pall, whichever you want to call it. Either way is correct. Canada House on my left. How is everyone this morning? Nice to see I'm not the only one that's up bright and early. Mind you, for you, Captain Sam, it's late at night, isn't it? As you can see, the buildings around this area are all ornate. The majority of them are faced with Portland stone. Portland stone comes from a quarry down in Dorset on the island of Portland. It was made a big prisoner site. There's some prisoners down there to do hard labour to cut out the quarry stone. There was talk of bringing that back in again and paying people that are in prison to do the work, but that's never come about. $22.35 over there. That's not too bad. Up at 5 to walk the dogs. That's something I should look at getting a dog. But the problem with owning a dog, it would limit my travel abilities. Always having to find someone to look after the dog while I'm travelling, which is not good. Let's start off with this building here. Incredible building here. This is Kinnaird House. I don't know if any of you have heard of Barclays Bank and the Barclay card and all that lot. Well, this is where it's originally started. Now, I'm going to show you a lot of buildings in this stream until we get to the parks, and then there'll be no more buildings, so a lot of you probably thank me for this. I'm going to show you this statue here. I don't know if you can see it. It's quite interesting. Sam and I about this when watching Era's channel. Era was recently in Georgetown in Malaya, and this is King George III. That's what Georgetown in Malaya was named after. King George reigned from 1769 to 1820. I can't show you the other building because there's traffic in the way. As soon as the traffic lights change, I can show you this other building. Now this building here, which is a very nice building, nice design and everything. It's got a lot of names on it: New Brunswick, Alberta, Saskatchewan, which I can't say, British Columbia, all American names. This is the Canadian National Railway Company building. Used to be. But prior to that, it belonged to the Grand Trunk Railway. And the Grand Trunk Railway was an international railway in Canada that links Canada with the states of, oh, I've got to think about this now, Michigan and Maine. And the reason why it's here in London was because it was heavily financed by the British then, because obviously the British were responsible for a lot of Canada at the time. Building today is no longer used for that. It's the Litz Institute, which is a Hungarian culture centre, hence the Hungarian flag outside. Very beautiful building, you're right to say as it is. And you can see the road ahead. Very big ornate buildings. A lot of this area of London was bombed during the war, so a lot of buildings were replaced with modern structures. Bit of jaywalking across. Over there is Kazakhstan House, which is the embassy of the Kazakhstan state. They've only been there since 2013 and actually moved from a premises in South Kensington. As you can see, all these buildings along here are very ornate. They were all owned by the aristocracy at the time. And of course only the rich people could afford buildings like this in London. Good morning, alien. Welcome on in. Yes, you're right, no such thing as jaywalking in. If there wasn't such a thing as jaywalking, you'd never be able to cross the road in the UK. Because they don't exactly provide enough pedestrian crossings for people. And unfortunately it's a case of you take your life in your hands each time you do cross the road. But having lived in this country for 63 years, you get used to doing that. Now this here is Waterloo Place, and as with a lot of places in London, they are named after famous battles. This was in 1814, and it was designed to display monuments of famous people involved in the Battle of Waterloo, but it also now includes the Crimean War, etc., etc. The big tall column over there, on top of it stands the Duke of York. Very beautiful buildings around here. And here, in the middle, are memorials to the Crimean War. Don't ask me when the Crimean War was, but don't know. Know the story of how what came about, alien? I'm going to walk you up Waterloo Place. Building here on the right is a very expensive hotel to stay in London. It's a Sofitel. You can imagine what the rooms are like in there, huge. As you can see, Waterloo Place is a very wide place. There's not as many monuments along here as there used to be. Oh, jaywalking laws. I don't think there's such a thing as a jaywalking law. I think just everyone would just took their own knife in their hands and crossed the road. I mean, I remember back in the 1970s when I was a kid, we used to have a thing called the Green Cross Code, and they used to teach us how to cross the road without having to use pedestrian crossings. And it's just something we do. It's something you grow up with. As I said, all these buildings are all Portland stone fasciaed, which is why they look so good. Going to go along this road here, Charles Street, Charles II Street. Now, a lot of the rich areas of London, there are little squares, and in the centre of those squares they have these little gardens. One I'm walking you through now is called St James Square. St James's Square, get it right. And these squares were basically designed as gardens for all the big houses that surrounded the square. A lot of them are locked up for private use, some are open to the public. Lovely mature trees here, look at the size of them. Wow. And this is St James's Square. I should take you over because it looks like the garden's open, so I'll take you in the garden. Now See Magic, thank you very much for following, very kind of you. This is St James's Garden in the middle of St James's Square. As you can see, it's very well, there's a squirrel there. Sitting on the bench, very tame squirrel, look at that. Wildlife in the centre of London, amazing. Very tame. So this is a garden, as you can see it's landscaped and it's very well looked after. And generally the garden is owned by the properties around it, and it all comes in with their fees that they pay for things like service charge, I think we would call it nowadays. But it's a little escape from the hustle and bustle of London. In US cities in the 20s, people from the countryside were called Jays. I understood the word jaywalking came from the bird, the jay, because of the way people sprinted across the road, just the way I always thought of it. Interesting. Very lovely, very quite peaceful place to sit and rest. Right. I don't know how long this walk's going to take me this morning. I've planned it for about an hour and a half. Just shows you a different side of London people don't normally see when they're acting touristy. As you can see from the buildings around here, very well very rich can't say the word, aristocracy from the time owned these buildings. Very, what name? Bumpkin. Country bumpkin. That's a term I've known for a long, long time. Taking a walk up here. Keep crossing the roads today. Now, I've mentioned before in several of my walks that London is built around villages and churches and stuff. This church here is an old church we're coming up to. It was built in 1684, and it was built by the same person who designed St Paul's Cathedral, Sir Christopher Wren. It's one of the older churches that are still standing in London. It's an Anglican church, and like a lot of this area, was bombed in the Second World War and was fully restored in 1954 when they had the money to do it. As you can see, it's a lovely church. As you can see from the buildings, this would have been a very rich area of London back in the day, and today it is still a rich area of London. In fact, anywhere in London you've got to have money to live now. And when I say London, I refer to London as the centre part of London, not all the outskirt areas, because really they're just boroughs that have been added onto London, and not true London. And the street we're walking on is called St James Street, and there, as you can see, there's a lot of bespoke tailors, shoemakers, etc. along here. Well, that's always been the case when this was built along here. This was a lot of expensive bespoke tailoring and etc. for the aristocracy. The normal run-of-the-mill people wouldn't come here to buy things. There's a lot of these big cities around the world. It takes a lot of maintenance to keep them up, so wherever you go there's scaffolding or works going on to keep them up to scratch, to keep them restored. Unfortunately, a lot of the places I've been trying to show people in my streams have been shored up with scaffolding and covered so you can't see them, which is unfortunate. This building here, though it's not the front entrance, is the famous Fortnum and Mason's department store. Now, this was founded in 1707, not this building, the company was founded in 1707 by William Fortnum. Well, William Fortnum was a footman to the royalty, Queen Anne at the time. And as the story goes, Queen Anne insisted on having brand new candles out every day. So the old candles were taken down, basically should be thrown away. But what William Fortnum did, he kept them and sold them and started making a business. And in the end, he teamed up with his landlord, Hugh Mason, to help finance his business. And they bought a premises here in Not in this road, but Piccadilly, where I'm going to take you up to next, which is the other side of Fulton and Mason. They bought a store and started up a grocery business there, selling stuff to the aristocracy in the area. And over the time, it expanded and it got better and better. You can see inside, very lavish bar inside there. The store itself was built in 1920. Was rebuilt in 1927 to what you see today, because it kept expanding. Good morning, Rob. How are you? Surprised to see you up this time in the morning? Here's the front of Fulton and Masons here in Piccadilly. Big red bus coming by. I don't know what all the bees or wasps or flies or whatever they are meant to be on the side of the building represent. I should have to look that up. It's an impressive building. And on the other side of the road, we've got this impressive building. And this is Burlington House. This is one of the earliest buildings that was built specifically for private residence. It was rebuilt to the state it's in now in the 1800s. It fell out of disuse as a residential place and the government bought it because it was threat of being pulled down. And now it has become the place of many learned royal societies. 5 to be exact are in here: the Royal Academy of Art, Geological Society, Royal Society of Chemistry and Society of Antiquities. I can't think what the other one is. Oh, the Royal Astronomical Society. And they are in this building here. It's back here. Waiting for a friend of ours. I suspect that friend of ours won't be on until later today. Probably sleeping it off from yesterday. Thank you for the watch streak, Rob. It's nice of you. Three in a row. Very good. Excuse me. A lot of arcades in this area. Again, for the rich aristocracy are made. This is Piccadilly Arcade here. And as you can see down there, let's get a bit closer. You see they're quite decorative. Moon Snail, thank you for following, very kind of you. And again, all these shops down here are all fashionable, expensive shops. Now on the opposite side of the road, there's another older arcade that was built. That's the Burlington Arcade. I don't know if you can see from here. I might take you over the other side to show it better. Inside there's a great big long way, a bit like the Piccadilly Arcade there, but it's full of, again, expensive shops and chandeliers hanging down from the centre. It's across the centre more, probably see it better. I've got to work out how to do a zoom function on this. Now this was built in 1819 and it was basically jewellery and fancy items. It's been restored twice. There was a bad fire here in 1836 and also it was bombed in World War II. Right, we'll carry on walking. Now Piccadilly, this is the name of this road we're walking down, dates back to the medieval ages. The name came from Robert Baker, who sold Piccadills. Now, Piccadills, the best way to describe it is like a lace piece of fabric that men used to wear around their collars on their shoulders back in the day. The aristocracy, basically. It's like a broad lace collar. But in 1663, they named the street Portugal Street, which was after Catherine of, can't think of the name, Braganza, who was the wife of Charles II at the time. It was designed to be a place for residences, which it was for quite a period of time. Eventually it got named Piccadilly after Piccadills sold by Robert Baker. The exact date I don't know. I haven't been able to find that.
Once they get into your head,
As you can see, Piccadilly is a very wide street. It's funny, I was just saying about not having much luck showing you buildings that are quite well known because they're covered in scaffolding. Well, look at this building on the right, left, sorry. It's covered in scaffolding. That's the Ritz Hotel. Unfortunately covered in scaffolding. The Ritz Hotel was opened by a Swiss hotelier called Cesar Ritz. And it was built in 1906. And it's going through some renovation at the moment. So it's got 115 rooms and 25 suites in there. If you fancy coming to London for some high tea, it's a place to come. It'll cost you a bit. You have it there's a place called the Pall Court inside, and it's very ornate, very detailed. Nice place to treat yourself. We're going to go away from the street and the noise of the traffic. On my left is a 1967 it's built, it's Green Park Underground Station entrance. You can see very modern looking, despite the fact it was built in 1967, a long time ago. I was only 4 when this was built. Chat's very quiet. I don't know if it's working. I'll have to start Stream Buddy again. If there's anyone in chat, can they type 1 so I know it's working, please? Thank you, Rob. It's just when it's quiet, you don't know if it's fallen over or not. Stream Buddy being what it is. Hello, Healy. Welcome on in. I'm going to go into Green Park in a sec. Get away from all this traffic. Anne-Marie, thank you for following. Very kind of you. This is Green Park. Green Park is one of the royal parks of London. Has no lake. There's mainly trees. And the only flowers you'll find flowering here are narcissi, or the narcissi family. That's all they're doing here. There's no buildings. There's nothing. And the undulating land is for a reason. When this was first enclosed in the 16th century, it was a sand pit, and they used to excavate the sand from here to use for mortar for doing buildings in London. It was given to King Charles II in 1668, who turned it into what was called Upper St James's Park Garden. St James's Park is literally just over the way in front of Buckingham Palace. It was renamed Green Park in 1746, and like a lot of things, it was landscaped in the early 19th century. It's one of the royal parks that's open to the public. This I'm actually walking along here is the Diana, Princess of Wales walk. As you know, Diana, Princess of Wales was much loved by the UK people, and you'll find lots of memorials and that for her around London. But if you like trees, this is the park to come to in London. I don't know how many varieties of trees that are here, but there are a lot. The London Plain, which I talk about a lot, which is a mainstay of London, where they're on the outer edges. And various other trees on the inside. Yeah, Princess Di was much loved royalty. Just watching a squirrel down in the grass here amongst the pigeons. I think after she died of VO. Thank you for following. Excuse me, I've had trouble pronouncing some words. Yeah, Princess Di, she was much loved, and so when she died, it was obvious how much she was loved by the outflowing of the public and how they came out to see her off and everything. And the Book of Remembrance, which was in Kensington Gardens, which people went and signed. They queued for hours just to sign that. And, yeah, very much loved. The flowers they put out in front of Buckingham Palace was unbelievable. I like these parks in central London. Nice getaways from the hustle and bustle of London life. Not as quiet as I'd hoped, because you can still hear the roar of traffic, but then it is building up for rush hour time here in London, so it will be a bit noisy. If you're wondering why the grass looks rather brown, it's the extreme heat waves we've been having here in the UK. Normally this time of year everything would be nice and green and lush, but unfortunately because of the heat, and it's been intense heat, it's drying out the grass. The grass will come back, it's not dead, it's just dried out. It always comes back. Some of the trees get confused because they think the seasons are the wrong way around, and they start to blossom at the wrong time, and then they start dropping leaves when they shouldn't be, and just climate change is going on. Hello, Mudok. How you doing? About 5 ways from Althorpe, where she was buried. Oh, really? Wow. As you can see, I told you about the underlying lander here of the Green Park. This is where they used to dig out the sand. So the north side of London was of different geology to what the southern side of London is. That's why you find mainly London Underground trains purely run in the north side of London and not the south. Hawashwa, thank you for following. Very kind of you. Yeah, so the London transport system, the Underground, was built mainly in the north because the land was more sand and anything. You go to the south and it's very wet clay, and it's very difficult to at the time, very difficult to do tunnels and that in. So the railway system that side of the river tends to be above ground rather than deep tunnels. Excuse me. Yeah, it does look a very peaceful place. It's all right, but you can still hear the traffic because it's quite noisy. The traffic around here, it's like in a junction of a place. I have to cut across the grass. Someone in front of me is smoking something that's not strictly legal. Whew. Right, this here, almost like a meadow with tall grass. Yes, it is. Well, bearing in mind, that's originally what it would have been, because London itself was only a small area in central London. What they call the City of London now that was London proper, and everything outside of it was fields and meadows. And basically, this is more or less stayed the same as it was back then. This here is the Commonwealth Memorial Gate. Quite modern. It was built in 2002. Basically, it's to commemorate all the soldiers of the British Empire in the Indian, African continents, and also in the Caribbean. Queen Elizabeth II herself opened this up. The walls over there, which have got high security fencing on, is actually the garden of Buckingham Palace. And the only way you get to see that is if you get an invite to go to Buckingham Palace at some time to have tea with the King, or you're fortunate enough to be commemorated with a British medal of some sort. It's the only time you get to see that. Now up there, you can see another arch, and I'm going to take you to that. That's the Wellington Arch, which was built in 1830. It was part of the King at the time planned to have approaches to Buckingham Palace lined with gates and stuff. This is a nightmare with bikes. Bikes are worse than cars. The Wellington Arch is one of the arches that was built to improve the route from the north to Buckingham Palace. It once housed the smallest police station in London in one of the columns, one of the towers, supports either side, whatever you call it, the building either side. But that ceased to being the case in 1992. The other side of it has been repurposed as a shaft, an air vent for the underpass, which is under here. There's Hyde Park Corner underpass goes beneath. Originally on top there used to be a statue of Duke of Wellington on a horse, but that was replaced with the present statue. It is a fabulous day today, you're right. It's a very beautiful, warm day. It's warming up. It started off a chilly 8 degrees, but it's certainly warming up now. Trying not to get run down by bikes here. I'm going to take you across Hyde Park Corner. This is a very busy road intersection, so it's going to be interesting trying to cross it. As you can see, there's lots of memorials around here. That one there is particularly to battles in World War II. I don't know what that one is in front of me. Something to do with the Royal Artillery. Another part of the improvements that the King wanted way back when for the approach to Buckingham Palace was to have a screen at Hyde Park Corner to complement the arch. And that's what you see over there. How have I coped with extreme heat? I haven't. As soon as it gets above 30, I lock myself away at home, draw all the curtains and stay inside until it cools down. It's just no point being out in that heat. It's no good for you. You're right, Daisy, the heat is horrendous. I mean, I've encountered heat. I've been to other countries where it's been hot and in the high 30s, but the heat here in the UK at that temperature is just the worst. I must admit, the last little heat wave we had, it wasn't so humid, which was rather nice, because normally it's the humidity that gets me. This is one place I'm not going to jaywalk. Alright, here we go. Right, the building there is Apsley House. That is the home of the Duke of Wellington's. That was built in 1770. It's one of the best preserved examples of an English aristocratic townhouse in the country. Let's cross the road while we can, we're going to wait a long time. I'm going to take you into Hyde Park. Again, basically get away from the traffic. The traffic is just horrendous. It's noisy around here. It's one of the worst spots in London for traffic. And just like that, it's like you come into a different world. This is Hyde Park Corner to be precise. As you can see, there's an inner road. And in the centre there's a place for horses to run up and down. People who can afford to have a horse in London are allowed to run up and down now. See if I get the right way to go through the park. Now Hyde Park is a very big place. It's 350 acres of land, which to those who are metric is 140 hectares. First established by Henry VIII as a hunting ground, along with St James's Park area as well, which was a deer hunting ground. That was way back in 1530s. In the 1600s it was open to the public. I'm hoping I'm walking the right way. Let's take a walk over here. Good morning, Pete. How are you? Mama Swig, welcome on in. Nice to see you. You've been to Hyde Park? Oh, wow. Right, so I'll take a walk this way. I'm going to walk you around past the Serpentine. This is the only thing I don't know about London. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head because we're cyclists. London cyclists are terrible. This is where cyclists in the UK get a bad name from, because they seem to think they rule the roost and they don't care. They just drive at you, they really do. In the 1850s, Hyde Park was used as a great exhibition, and a huge glass palace was built called Crystal Palace. That was dismantled after the exhibition and rebuilt to a bigger palace on a hill over in Sydenham, South London, because it's called Crystal Palace, and that's where Crystal Palace is now. They call it the town Crystal Palace. But unfortunately, the Crystal Palace itself was burnt down in a fire. And it was a huge, huge palace. Drew a lot of people there. They even built railway lines to it. Yes, I think Speaker's Corner is still here somewhere. I tend not to stick around those places. I'm not interested in politics as such. Again, as I was saying, London is full of memorials to the British Empire. All over the place. And that's a subject I don't particularly want to get into either, British Empire, because there's a lot of good and bad things about it. How quiet it is through here, just hear the birds whistling, lovely. Shadow of the Mark, hi there. Welcome on in. Good morning, AO Rock. Welcome in, nice to have a new... Australia, really? Well, Shadow Mark, that's interesting. Which part of Australia? Well, you must be my first Australian, thinking about it. I hear horses. Melbourne on the southeast coast. So what time must it be there? Was it midday-ish? .45 p.m.
I just give it to your...
Jay Civic, thank you for following, very kind of you. Again, if you like trees, this is a place to come. Trees everywhere in Hyde Park. Hyde Park's a nice place to walk. You can spend all day in this park. It's used a lot for exhibitions and venues and pop concerts, etc., etc. There's a permanent venue that comes here every winter. That's the Winter Wonderland, which, to my mind, is a very expensive thing. I'd much rather spend the money and go to Germany and visit the Christmas markets. Lovely Mansai, hello, welcome in. Huge and giant ray. Well, I'm not huge. I'm tall, I'm not huge. I've lost a lot of weight. So. Really, 169 followers? Really? Never. Oh. I must say, I'm very thankful to all of you who follow my stream. Because I'm only streaming once a week at the moment. I've only been streaming, this is my 7th stream. So I've only been streaming for 7 weeks. I made affiliate in 4 weeks. And my viewing figures have literally doubled every week. I don't know how or why, but they just doubled every week. It's just amazing. I'm just thankful for all followers. Most of my streams are usually early morning because I walk early morning, but I'm planning on doing streams at other times of the day. I like London in the mornings because it's just waking up. It's not full of tourists and it's nice and quiet. Mama Sweet, well, on Kuma stream, not a lot of people know, that was my first trip out of home in 6 months. I'd been struck down with an illness. The doctors kept diagnosing as being a stomach issue. And it turns out it wasn't a stomach issue. What I'd done, I'd pulled a muscle, an internal muscle on my stomach. So it's given me pains that were like a burning stomach pains. And of course, in the UK at the moment, seeing a GP is virtually impossible. It's all done online. Everything's done online. You don't even have a video conference with them. It's just literally done online. Or they ring you up and talk to you that way. And so I just described the symptoms, and they said, "Oh right, you've got to have this drug," and they put me on this drug, and this drug just knocked me out for 6 months. Literally knocked me out. I could hardly eat. What it did, it reduced the stomach, the acids in the stomach. So you couldn't eat much because it wouldn't pass through, the food you were eating wouldn't pass through your system quick enough, so you couldn't eat so much. And I lost a lot of weight then. So when you saw me in Coombe Street last week, I was down to 15 stone then, 15 and a half stone. I'm just off 15 at the moment. The only good thing that came out of that is the fact that I did lose a lot of weight. I was 17 and a half stone when I retired. So health-wise, it's helped me out. Yeah, 6 months indoors was a nightmare. Being an outdoorsy person, I was pulling my hair out. It just knocked it out. It just didn't have the energy to do anything. Now this is a Serpentine. Now the Serpentine was once the River Westbourne. They dammed it up when the Royals decided to make this into a park. To create this lake. The River Westbourne is no longer around. So in the 1830s, I think it was, they started pumping water from the River Thames into here, which is quite a fair way away from the River Thames. But now they bored some holes in the park, and they've got pumps that pump water out of the ground, specifically for the Serpentine. They hold lots of events in this river. Swimming events, bathing events, boating events. Sorry about that, chap. My camera switched off. I've done that before. We're back. We're back. A lot of wildlife along here. I don't know if these are duck or geese. Oh. And there's Canadian geese up there. To come off the medication last week, I never got to see a doctor at all. During the whole lot, I never actually got to physically stand in front of a doctor. And I kept ringing up, and all they kept doing was prescribing these new drugs. So I just thought, well, I don't think they're doing me any good. I just stopped taking them. I read up on it online, the ones I was taking, and it said to wean yourself off of them. Was to take one every other day, and then the next week reduce it to one every third day. Thank you, Sana, for following me. Very kind of you. Yeah, I was weaning myself off, and eventually I came off the drugs, and I've never been to the doctor since about it. And I just stopped taking them, and I've been fine. And the only reason I found out it was my stomach, muscles that I'd pulled, was because every now and then, if I did any exercise which involved the stomach, the pain would come back. So I just assumed I had pulled the muscles, and the scarring is still there, so I have to be careful any exercise I do, but yeah, it just goes to show that doctors put you on medication, and bad medication as well, that you get addicted to. But that's the state of the UK NHS at the moment. You literally have to be dying to get an ambulance as well nowadays. It's just the way it's gone. I must admit, I've now taken out private medical insurance, just so that I've got it there, so that if I do need to see a doctor now, I can go immediately and see a private doctor. Yeah, so then, Mum, so when you saw me on Kuma Stream, that was literally my first day out and about. I used it specifically for that. I mean, I wanted to see Kuma. He had asked me to see him and everything, so I literally, yeah, that was more or less my first day out. I think I did go into London a couple of days before that, but that was nice. If you like boating on a lake, going out on a paddle boat, then they've got them here at Hyde Park. You can go out paddling. Not my kind of thing, I'm afraid. I think the entire flock of Canadian geese must be in this country. Seem to be everywhere. Even at home, we've got Canadian geese everywhere. And the whole flock of them up here across the road. I don't know if these are ducks or geese. Very curious. Must be fed by people because they're very tame. A very funny daisy. Swans, yeah. By the way, they're all coming up to me. These animals, these birds have all been fed by the public. Very tame. I don't like Canadian geese. I've had a bad run-in with them. Yes, Mum, I speak. I am leading such a great life. I am. This streaming's given me a new lease of life. Getting involved with streamers and that. Obviously, the majority of the streamers are a lot younger, most of them are half my age. And it's been nice that they've accepted me into their world. And it's just given me a whole reason to carry on, because I never knew what I was going to do in my retirement. I had plans of travelling here and everywhere, but there's only a certain amount of travelling you can do on your own. So it's been good. And likes of Kuma Monster and Sarah Bridgewater, seeing their Twitch channels, watching their streams, it's given me a whole new thing to look forward to. These geese. Whoa. Yeah, a little bit nervous with Canadian geese. Geese apparently make good watchdogs. Yes, you're right, Daisy. Sarah's channel is a very lovely channel. It's very homely, welcoming. Our community is very nice too. Got a very good community. You came across Twitch watching scam baiters on YouTube. I literally, I don't know what it was. I was searching for something on Google. For some reason, Sarah Bridgewater was, I think she was in England. Yeah, she was English, in North Wales at the time. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. Someone biking around England and showing it live. And I turned it on and I just got hooked. And then Sarah raided Kuma and Kuma raided here. And I was watching Sarah in TwitchCon, and Ira was singing on stage, and that's how I discovered Ira. And I follow her stream. I'm a big supporter of her stream because I like her streams, and they're fantastic. But yeah, I just cottoned onto it. But it's amazing the number of people don't know what Twitch is and what streaming is. Well, I don't know about that alien. I've not looked into that much. All I know is that I'm fortunate because some of you guys subscribe to my channel, and through the ads that appear on the channel, that covers all my costs for my stream. It covers the cost of the Sims and everything. As for hotels and that, I've not done all that yet. I understand you can claim tax on them, but I'll see when that comes. Mama Swig. I like them. I like those pigeons. They're very good. I use them a lot in other streamers' streams. Yeah, I watched Sarah go to TwitchCon twice now, I think. I loved her one she did from Greece to Scotland. That was fantastic. When she called off at TwitchCon on the way and then carried on going to Scotland. That was something else. It's nice because I'm learning that. All I'm doing now is what I normally do. I just normally walk. I walk every morning just to keep myself fit, keep myself mobile. And I was just convinced by several streamers that I should stream because people like that sort of thing. And that's why now I'm streaming. Travelling can get expensive, but there are ways of getting around that expenses. You can travel quite cheaply if you want to. Thank you, Daisy. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Mama Swig. Mama Swig, you're not the first person to say that. Mama Swig, you followed me long before I even started streaming. I think you followed me from when I did that stream tonight on Kuma, and he said to me, "Are you streaming?" And it sort of set a light bulb off in my mind. But yeah, yes, Daisy. Thank you for that. So streams are great. I'm trying to figure out. Maybe I shouldn't look into deeply. I've been looking at analytics and all the metrics behind it and everything, and I just still can't understand why my walking is attracting so many people to see it. This bridge is going over the Serpentine. I'm taking you this way because I want to walk you over and cut across into Kensington Gardens. Yes, Mama Suga, you must be one of my first followers. I'm trying to think. You might even be my first. I'll have to look that one up. I don't know how well this is coming up on stream because of the sun. Right in the distance is the Houses of Parliament just appearing above the trees. But it's a beautiful morning. Look at that, that's Serpentine. It's a fantastic morning. I'm going to cross over to the other side, if I can do that without getting knocked down. This is the other side looking into what is Kensington Gardens. I won't be taking you around that today. I'll probably do that in my next stream. Oh, welcome morning raider, Sturgy Pooh. Thank you very much for for coming and raiding me, sorry. That's very kind of you. Welcome morning raiders. I'm Giant Ray. Sturgy Pooh's followed me and he knows me from other streamers as well. I do walks, and I've been convinced by other streamers to stream what I walk. You're presently with me in London. What you see there is Kensington Gardens, and I've just walked through Hyde Park, and that's the Serpentine that side. I've been convinced to stream my walks because I was told people find it interesting, and as we were just discussing before you raided us, I was discussing why people follow me, and obviously those streamers saw that what I like doing is a way of capturing people, is what people want to see. But welcome on in. It's a nice warm morning. It's got warmer. It's about 12 degrees in here now. It was 8 when I first started. Mr. Flatline, welcome on in. Nice to see you. It is a nice morning. It's a very nice morning. Now, I did say at the beginning of my stream that, contrary to popular belief, it always rains in London, always rains in the UK. This is my 6th stream in London, and it's been like this every time. I can also tell you that London is one of the driest cities in the UK. It has one of the least rainfalls. So the myth that it always rains in the UK is a bit of a lie. I'll take this way. This is on the edge of Kensington Gardens. A bit like Hyde Park, it was once open meadowland originally, and then it was utilised as a hunting ground by Henry VIII. Yes, Daisy, up where I live, north of London, we've had no rain for at least 2 months. At least 2 months. They say we've got some rain coming next weekend. I'll believe it when we see it. I know at the moment a lot of the water companies, especially in my area now, banning hose pipes. You're not allowed to water your gardens or wash your car using hose pipes. So yeah. Yes, hunting grounds. It's a lot of this part, this was all meadow fields and all open land and everything. And then when the Royals moved into London, they, Henry VIII in particular, took up a lot of the grounds and used them as his hunting grounds for deer and the like, long before London was what it is now. and the spaces were converted by the Royals into Royal Parklands, then landscaped in the early 19th century. And to get the parks we've got now, they opened them up to the public so the public could use them. And now they are, a lot of them are Grade 1 listed actually, you're not allowed to alter them or change them. There's a lot of these little buildings around the parks where you can get yourself some refreshment. Expensive, but you can get refreshment if you need it. Yes, Daisy, I mean, none of you are probably as old as me, but I remember back in 1976, we had a heat wave and it was continuous for several days. I don't know how long it went on for now, but I remember I was only 13 at the time, and we used to have to go out into the street, and they had standpipes at water mains in the street, and you had to go out there and fill buckets up with water and bottles up with water for indoors, because they didn't want you wasting water. Weird and archaic way of doing things, but that's what it was like then. Old alone life. Old alone life. Now, judging by the fact you've got arrows pointing towards your 196, doesn't mean you was born in the 1960s. 1976 was the first year working, so you're older than me, Daisy. That's the case. First year working in 76, I was only 13. Whoa. Well, it's nice to have you here, Daisy. It's nice that you've found Twitch and found streaming. My mum, who's 84, born in 1941. If I told her I was streaming, she'd go, "What's streaming?" She wouldn't have a clue. She wouldn't have a clue what Twitch is, what YouTube is. I'm going to have to sit down and explain it to her one day. I do hope I'm walking the right way. I think I am. He was here in 1989. That's interesting. It was extremely hot. I wanted to buy some ice cream to cool off a bit. It was all melted even. I didn't come to London to work until 1991. I think I came to London to start working. I was based at London Bridge, so that was before me. Yeah. Funny story, that one was from ice cream night because of the heat. That's the thing I find with online shopping. I've been buying stuff on online shopping, and because of the heat, even the coolers on their vans aren't working too well, so all the frozen stuff is coming partly defrosted. It's terrible. If your dad was around, he wouldn't have a clue either. I always like quoting a story about my dad. When I was a kid, back to 1976, funny enough, we used to sit there watching Star Trek on TV. And I remember when Captain Kirk used to flip open his communicator, and there would be a picture of Spock or someone back on the Starship Enterprise, and they would talk to one another on the screen, and they'd see each other. And my dad said, "That will never happen." He said, "How are they going to get a TV tube that small to fit in a little communicator thing like that? That's going to never happen." Today, everyone has got one of them in their pocket, and they flip, they open it up, and they can talk to anyone anywhere in the world. So technology changes so much. But he would never believe if he was here today. He would never understand the technology. Right, this here is why I've walked this way. Delta Alpha, thank you for following. It's very kind of you. Yes, I did used to work in transport. I worked in the railway industry for 42 years. A TV was different back then. We did have a colour TV, one of the first colour TVs we had. But it only had 4 channels, no, didn't have 4 channels then, it only had 3 channels in, I think. BBC One, BBC Two and ITV, that's all the channels there were. And none of what you've got now where you've got hundreds of channels to choose from and streaming online, and it's just none of that back then. And you turn the TV on, it'll take a minute or two to warm up. Now this here is the Albert Memorial. This was commissioned by Queen Victoria on the death of her husband in 1872. Oh, Doctor Who fan. Oh, I was a Doctor Who fan. Oh. My mum said I used to hide behind the settee when the Cybermen came on. But you're talking back in the days of the early series, the second series with Patrick Troughton. This one was, there was a lot of TV series. I've watched a lot of American television series like I Dream of Jeannie and stuff like that, and they originally were filmed in black and white and then later converted to colour for colour TV in America. But yeah. I have no idea what the price of TVs were back in them days. I don't think we even owned a TV. We had a thing called radio rentals, which was a thing whereby you leased a TV from a company and you paid so much. I don't know how much it was then, but you paid so much for it. No one owned TVs in them days. It's all leased. No one could afford to have them. No, big TV screens didn't exist back then. Nothing existed back then. Yes, it's amazing how technology has gone on. Right, so this was Queen Victoria's commissioning for her husband who died, and Queen Victoria, when her husband did die, Prince Albert, she dressed in black for the rest of her life. She was never seen in anything other than black. Queen Victoria died in 1901, I believe. I'm going to take you down to my final point this morning, as I'm now getting to the point where I'm warming up. In the background, you can see that dome building. Some of you probably recognise it. It's the Royal Albert Hall. Now, the Royal Albert Hall, like the Albert Memorial, was part of the memorial to Prince Albert, and Queen Victoria opened that in 1871. Hydrate. What makes you say hydrate, Sturgy? All round the Royal Albert Hall are residential places. They were built as residential places. They're very expensive residential places nowadays. I've got to go up there to get out. Right. It is warm out. I've learnt from the past of how to hydrate, and it's not to guzzle lumps and great big gushes of water. I just sip water. So every now and then I just sip a drop of water. Something I learnt from some old army mates about a soldier's worst enemy is dehydration. and they are taught to sip water, not gulp it down. Because all gulping does, it goes in the system and comes out the system very quickly. All you want to do all the time then is wee. But if you take sips, you don't fill your bladder up and you sweat it out naturally. And it's much better. Ooh. I don't know how the ads are working on my stream. I've set it up so that anyone who comes into the stream doesn't get hit with ads, because I don't like that when I go looking at other streamers. As soon as I get hit with ads is when I enter a streamer's stream. I just come away from it because I can't be bothered to sit there and watch ads for 2 or 3 minutes. So I've set it up so that there's only so many number of ads in every 40 minutes or so, I think it is. So you shouldn't get too many ads. I mean, black and white TV, I mean, it's like watching black and white films or the old black and white comedies. Lauren Hardy and all that ilk. You don't really miss the colour, you're not watching it for the colour, you're watching it for the entertainment. So you don't really miss the colour. In fact, I think it's probably the complete opposite. When you're watching a colour TV, you don't realise you're watching it in colour, because it's so commonplace. It's probably the same with black and white. It was so commonplace back then. Gave you a snippet of ads for just 10 seconds. That's not bad. Now the Royal Albert Hall holds many events. The most famous event I always remember is the proms, where they have a month long of playing classical music. Which accumulates, it comes to the end with the prom night, which is the most famous bit. There must be some event going on there at the moment, because you've got broadcasts set up here. As you can see, the buildings here, Royal College of Organists, are very ornate. Again, this is another rich part of London. I come into the area of Kensington, Brompton, that area, where these were all gentry houses and stuff. Not this particular area, but further along would be gentry houses. And I've even got relatives that did service, as they call it, served as a waiter, not waiter, as a maid or a butler in service for gentry. Basically, they lived their lives just to look after other people, which, and for that they got food and lodging. That was their way of living then. Good morning, Zoartic, welcome on in.
No, you can still get fuel.
That opposite there is the Royal College of Music. It's a fantastic building. I will show you more of that in my other stream. So I can't get my phone off the hook. I've done it. Right. me just put you down for now. Let's have a look. Alright, can you see me, chat? Yeah, you can see me. My ugly mug. Oh, chat. Oh, yeah. That's been quite a long walk, actually. I quite enjoyed that one. I have now come to the conclusion of my walk for today. I don't know when my next walk will be. I'm thinking of doing midweek walks in afternoons. I haven't yet decided on when or where. What location. London seems to be very popular. I don't know. Hello, Governor. Nice view behind. Yes, the view behind is the Royal Albert Hall. Definitely need to show me Mum some of the VOD. She will probably love. To be honest, my mum would probably love it because she's always said to me she loved coming to London. Unfortunately, my dad would never bring her to London because he hated London, which was a shame, really. That's the way it is. 10 a.m. BBC's covering. What's BBC covering? I don't know. Right. I don't know if there's anyone on to raid. Oh, let's put that down there a minute. Oh. Thank you, Healy. That's very... oh, new Prime Minister. Oh. No, I'm not going to comment. Daisy, you're welcome. Charming stream you got going here. Keep it up. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I literally just sit and talk, just walk and talk. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to see if there's anyone on to raid. Who was that? Who just... Oh, I didn't catch that. I'm trying to see if there's anyone to raid. No, there's no one on at the moment worth raiding. Okay, so what I shall do then, chat, I shall leave you here for now. Oh, Midolf, thank you for following, it's very kind of you. Welcome on in, Lucky Lucian. Unfortunately, you've come on to the end of my stream. You're looking in great shape, man, keep it up. Yeah, not bad for 63, is it? I tell you what, I feel young, but my body says I'm old. It reminds me sometimes. Not in the morning. The times it's if I sit down. If I sit down for too long, and I get up, and my back lets me know. But then that's probably because I've got a prolapse disc that I've had since 1991. But yeah, well, thank you all for coming in. Thank you for all the followers. Thank you for viewing. I mean, I find that incredible, the number of people that view my VODs and watch what I'm doing. That I am very thankful for. So as for now, I say goodbye for now.